Brian Michael Bendis, Ram V, Phil Hester, and Sumit Kumar continue their action-packed stories as the United Order aid the Justice League in putting Synmar Utopica down once and for all, and the Justice League Dark push back against Merlin's attempt to unlock dangerous old magic buried deep under Atlantis. Brian Michael Bendis continues his United Order storyline as he uses the backdrop of grand action to introduce us to this new cosmic team properly here and give us a rundown on each of its members. I enjoyed seeing the heroes fighting to the very last minute before resorting to something like the Phantom Zone generator to trap Synmar in, and even then, Superman still refuses to use it, and not wanting to have to rely on trapping people in a death zone for eons like his father used it for. Kind of building on that whole development we got through Tomasi and Bendis' time on the Superman book, where we learned Jor-El wasn't all he made out to be and used the zone for a bit more personal things like trapping people he didn't like in it. The strained relationship of Earth and the United Planets was a nice touch as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these two super teams butt heads over different laws and how they go about policing each other and what that will bring to the table in terms of the United Planets and Earth's position in the United Planets as kind of like their birthplace in a way. Ram V continues his really great Atlantis-focused storyline in the Justice League Dark portion of the story, giving us a small taste of the backstory of the very Cthulhu and Elder God H.P. Lovecraft-inspired Dark World hidden under Atlantis. Ram also begun bringing back things from his previous Justice League Dark book with Zatanna and her deals with the Upside Down Man and all that sort of stuff, and being unsure in her power, and having her be the one to confront Merlin and seemingly be the only one who was able to actually hurt the being. So it's quite satisfying to see that stuff sort of come back, and stuff that myself and many other people have been following for quite some time, and bring it all back and have it matter and tie back into the larger plot. Phil Hester and Sumit Kumar continue their amazing artwork on the book, with Hester delivering more really awesome early 2000s era inspired artwork that made great use of page space, particularly in the 3 double page spreads that continue the action going on one side, and then the other side you get these kind of small profiles on the different members of the United Order and who they are and what race they represent and all that sort of stuff. It was again great use of page space and of colors and action, and it all had a great flow to it. Sumit meanwhile did some really brilliantly colored pages that depict Atlantis in really interesting ways, and kind of again falling back on that whole H.P. Lovecraft sort of inspired stuff that Ram is doing with his script, and diving into the cosmic horror stuff really well with all his different colors and weird shapes and page layouts. It was really quite fantastic. Justice League issue 67 was a great issue all around, putting the Justice League in an interesting situation that pits them against supposed allies and dealing with moral dilemmas, while Justice League Dark's storyline begins connecting up plots in fun ways while exploring some new concepts introduced in the last few issues. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Justice League issue 67 finds Leonardo Lame, codenamed Damon Rose, patching up his bullet wounds from the fake Deathstroke that attacked him, Oliver, and Dinah. He calls his sister Lois, but she tells him that she's covering the story of the century right now, wanting to know why he was distracting League members when the Hall of Justice was under attack. Leo wants to know who it's under attack by, thinking maybe Leviathan has struck again, but is told by the guy in the toilet stall next to him that it's all over social media. At the Hall, the reinforced Justice League continue their battle against Synmar Utopica, and on top of the League, Hawkslayer and the United Order have also arrived, telling Superman that they are there to rectify the mistake of letting Synmar escape them on Thanagar. Synmar proves to be too powerful for even all of these heroes, especially Superman, Black Adam, and Hawkslayer, blasting the heroes away as Prince Zerup steps up, telling the heroes Synmar is exactly what the Order was formed to defend against. Batman knows that it's time, but Superman refuses as the hero rushes into the ruins of the Hall to look for something. Synmar unleashes his power on Dominator QQ, who manages to trap the villain in a rock-like construct, containing him if but for a minute as the villain blows his way through the construct. Batman meanwhile knows the villain is growing more and more powerful as their battle continues, but Superman knows that they can do this and there has to be another way. Divine Q of Daxam, the highest ranking warrior in the Daxam system, uses her Superman level powers on the villain, not backing down from the fight, telling him that he cannot have this planet. Synmar begs to differ, and he knows he can as Batman returns, firing on the villain with a Phantom Zone projector, sucking the villain into the zone. Inside, Superman tells the villain that he warned the alien this could happen, telling him about the Phantom Zone as Synmar attacks, but Superman is just a mere hologram, passing right through Synmar's attacks, saying a power like his and a planet as beautiful as Synmar was all wasted by him. In the aftermath of the battle, Batman tells them that Synmar is contained, but Superman doesn't say anything, silently asking for the Phantom Zone projector. Flash wants to take it back to the vault and Batman agrees, but Superman tells the heroes how his father discovered the zone and made projectors to send his worst enemies into it, but having recently met his father, he sees things differently now, doesn't want to follow his path. Batman knows that it was the right thing to do, and the others agree, but Aquaman knows that Superman's point is who is to say who goes in and who doesn't. Batman knows that if Synmar wasn't contained, no one in the city would be sleeping safely that night, and he was going to burn the entire world down. Bruce knows that Clark has never made a bad call with the projector as Naomi tries to ask about Jor-El, but Hawkslayer tells Superman that this doesn't end the matter. The heroes agree and want to tell the Synmar Planetaria that they have him in custody. Divine Q knows their way brought this madness on the universe, but Superman says he'll deal with it himself. Hawkslayer demands he hand over the Phantom Zone projector, but Superman says that it was a gift to him, taking his leave to help with the rebuild. The United Order say they have the authority to confiscate any items deemed unacceptable, but the Justice League know they can at least try and take it if they want. In Coast City, Leo gets ready to leave the truck stop he's at, hearing more news about the League as he's confronted by a gang of men dressed like Deathstroke, knowing that he was hoping to avoid this. Elsewhere, a voice asks where magic comes from, with many having tried to answer that question, but one knows that magic comes from Atlantis, which currently is under attack by Merlin's giant monsters, which intends to let him access what lies deep beneath the city, where the dark world lies dreaming. Merlin asks Constantine if he can feel the impossible power behind the doors in front of them in the temple, wondering if John knows the tragedy of the dark world's unwitnessed dreams. John has felt power like that before and he knows it's never good news, asking why Merlin is there now. Merlin says he's there for a purpose, and ever since he was a child, this has been his purpose, just like it's the world's. He asks John if he's ever wondered why this tiny planet in an insignificant corner of the cosmos seems to have all these grand narratives centered around it. Justice League Dark meanwhile finish off the monsters as Aquaman gets reports of Merlin inside the old Atlan temple. Soon they are confronted by an army of the undead from the old kingdoms of the dead. Aquaman tells Zatanna to go head off Merlin at the temple, but she knows she can't risk doing it herself, wanting to know where John is. Ragman agrees to go with her as Aquaman calls his army of shark friends to help defend Atlantis from the dead. Constantine meanwhile is subdued by Merlin, who demands he undo his barrier spell on the door. John knows that he likes to yammer on, and while he doesn't stand a chance against Merlin, the arriving Zatanna does, blasting Merlin with fire as she unleashes her power on the magician.